Nos hemos criado con un centenar de dibujos animados, creo que ninguno que haya nacido de la misma forma que este llamado Los Motorratones de Marte. Hablé con Ungar, el responsable de darle vida a estos famosos roedores que venían desde Marte.
How did you come with that idea? How did you develop it?
You want the true story or the story I used to have to make up?
I want both.
¿Quién escribe tus diálogos? ¡Salchicha! ¡Y rock and roll!
I was at a Jewish delicatessen in the Valley in Los Angeles on a Sunday morning with my wife and a couple of friends, and a motorcycle gang comes roaring in. And I'm like, what's a motorcycle gang doing at a Jewish deli? And they take off their helmets, and I can see they're all like doctors and lawyers, very, yuppie types. And I went, well, that's interesting. So the next day I called up a friend of mine at Mattel Toys. I said, what was the last big motorcycle toy? He checks it out and he calls me back, and he says it was Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle. I said, how'd it do? He said, really well. I said, yeah, little guys like motorcycles. So the following weekend, and this is where I have to change the story, because whenever somebody would say, how did you come up with this, I'd make up a new story on the spot every single time I got interviewed. But the truth is, I have a home at a lake a couple hours away from Los Angeles, and I was in my boat at midnight, smoking a joint, and trying to think of, all right, I need to come up with characters that'll ride motorcycles. They can't be green because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were happening. I said, what? And I just, boom, biker mice from Mars.
So that's the truth.
That's the truth. The title came first. I always say drugs do pay.
Cuidado con el equipo, chicos. Estas cosas no son baratas.
Perdón, Charlie.
Charlie character was not one of the first characters I thought of, but somebody said to me along the way, aren't you going to have a female character? And I thought, well, I probably should. I don't think she needs to be one of the biker mice, but I did want her to be an important character, have a real function, and be independent, not just dependent on the boys to save her. And that's where Charlie came from. Interestingly, as we developed more characters for the series, we got into Carbine, who was the female general back on Mars, and she was a truly strong and independent character. So we kind of, got with it as time went on and realized this is something that we wanted to do.
Felicidades, querido amigo. ¡Limburger! No, sea buen chico y aleja eso de mí.
A good look at Lawrence Lactavius Limburger, right? He is the main bad guy, the big cheese. And you'll see an amalgam. It shows you how prescient that we were. It is a combination of Ronald Reagan and Donald J. Trump.
The younger Donald Trump, the one that wasn't into politics still.
No, he wasn't, but he was a real estate developer. And if you remember that the bad guy character was all about strip mining planets for his planet.
Yeah.
And so he here to strip mine. And I frankly, well, it goes that far back. I never liked Donald Trump. If you look at the second series of Biker Mice, which was done some years later, still before Trump went into politics, that bad guy's character's name was Ronaldo T. Rump.
¿Desde cuándo tomó Limburger la franquicia de tanta arena?
¿Arena? Es probable que Plutarch necesite cemento, hermanos.
It was always about operating on two levels. We wanted to have things that the kids would laugh at, of course, but we also wanted stuff in there that if their parents happened to be in the room, they'd be going, what did he just say? Because it would be politically funny. So there's an enormous amount of politics. If you ever look at money in Biker Mice from Mars, you'll see the picture on the bill is Richard Nixon. Yeah, that stuff is buried all over the place. So yes, we took a lot of shots at corporations, at politicians, at political situations. That's what made it fun for me.
En unos 10 segundos, la ciudad será un horno ardiente. Así que salchichas y rock and roll.
They are badass, they are like heroes, but they wear helmets. They ride their bikes wearing helmets. So was also that the point? Like you
know, that would have had, even if I didn't want to do that, I'm sure I would have been made to do that in that era. People were getting sensitive, certainly in our country, to the importance of wearing helmets. I have long been an avid bicyclist, and I'm a freak for helmets when you're riding a bike. So, yeah, I mean, I never would have considered to do anything otherwise, but the helmets were cool. They were badass. One rule I always followed, and you'll see this in every cartoon I ever made, you'll see fights. They're action shows, right? And there will be guns. They're not real guns. They're modernized or futuristic or whatever. But the one thing you'll always see is after any fight, everybody gets up.
Yeah.
Never thought it was necessary for characters to die in children's cartoons. Still don't think it's a good idea, although it does happen now. It's amazing. Every year I'm constantly shocked by how many people are still interested in biker mice. I don't know, man. I'd like to say it's because it was a great show. All the shows I did, and they tell me I have written and produced more cartoons for TV than just about anybody on the planet. Biker mice was by far my favorite. It changed my life. They're like my kids.